Biblical Secrets on Nicodemus in John chapter 3. Jerusalem was a city steeped in tradition and faith. As night blanketed its ancient stones, the bustling streets transitioned into silent pathways, occasionally disturbed by the whisper of the wind or the distant footsteps of a night guard. But tonight there was another presence navigating these alleys: Nicodemus. A revered Pharisee and a member of the influential Sanhedrin, Nicodemus held a place of respect among his peers. In daylight, he was surrounded by debates, rituals, and responsibilities, but under the cloak of darkness, he became a seeker, driven by tales of a miracle worker named Jesus. These stories weren't mere folklore. They spoke to a man who had turned water into wine and given sight to the blind. As Nicodemus neared his destination, his heart raced. What would this encounter hold? He found Jesus in a quiet corner, shielded from prying eyes. Taking a deep breath, he began, "Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him." The mystery of rebirth. Jesus turned to Nicodemus, his gaze unwavering and deep, and replied, "Most assuredly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Nicodemus was taken aback. The concept was so foreign, so baffling. Born again? How could a grown man experience a birth a second time? Trying to grasp this idea, he responded, "How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born?" With a gentle nod, Jesus responded, "Most assuredly, I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit." He continued, drawing an analogy from nature. "The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear the sound of it, but cannot tell where it comes from or where it goes. So is everyone who is born of the Spirit." A love beyond measure. Still grappling with these profound ideas, Nicodemus whispered, "How can these things be?" Jesus leaned in, and in the moment that would forever change Nicodemus's understanding, he shared, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved." These words were like a balm to Nicodemus's seeking soul. As the night deepened, he departed with a heart full of contemplation. Though he didn't have all the answers, a seed of hope and love had been sown. The journey to understanding had only just begun, but Nicodemus knew that he had encountered a love beyond measure. Revelations. As Nicodemus retraced his steps through the labyrinth streets of Jerusalem, his mind raced. The stillness of the night contrasted sharply with the whirlwind of thoughts and emotions inside him. The weight of his position, his reputation, and the societal norms pressed on him. Yet the compelling message from Jesus, a radical departure from what he had always known, beckoned him with an undeniable force. He found himself repeatedly revisiting Jesus' words about being born of the Spirit. What did it truly mean? It was more than just a ritual or a ceremony. It seemed to be a deep inner transformation. As he neared his home, he paused by a gently flowing stream. The moonlight shimmered on its surface, and the soft sound of water was soothing. It reminded him of Jesus' mention of water and the Spirit. The water, perhaps, symbolized a cleansing, a purification, while the Spirit pointed to a newness of life, a rebirth from within. The seed of faith. Days turned into weeks, and Nicodemus found himself frequently contemplating his midnight conversation with Jesus. He began studying the scriptures with fresh eyes, seeking insights and connections, and as he did, he found numerous prophecies and verses that seemed to align with Jesus' teachings. While he couldn't discuss these revelations openly with many of his peers due to the prevailing sentiment against Jesus, he found a few like-minded Pharisees. Together, they began to meet discreetly, delving deeper into the scriptures and Jesus' teachings. In these sessions, Nicodemus often remembered the profound declaration of love Jesus had shared. For God so loved the world. This love wasn't just about rules or traditions. It was about a relationship, a connection to the divine. The seed that Jesus had planted that night was now sprouting, growing, and budding into faith. A journey begins. While Nicodemus was still far from understanding everything, he felt a change within himself. This wasn't a mere intellectual pursuit anymore. It was a personal journey. He realized that faith was not just about knowing. It was about experiencing and living. Nicodemus would continue to play a significant role, even later aiding in the burial of Jesus, showcasing his deepening connection and commitment. But that one clandestine meeting was the catalyst, the beginning of a transformative journey from a place of authority and tradition to one of a humble seeking and profound faith. And so, under the vast canopy of the starlit sky, Nicodemus' journey of faith had only just begun, guided by the teachings of the carpenter from Nazareth and the promise of a love that transcends understanding.